Creativity tip number 1. Feed your head. I think it's really helpful to think about your creativity like a supernatural beast, some kind of ancient thing that's hidden in the deep caverns of your brain. Sometimes it cooperates with you, sometimes it doesn't. But this beast is always hungry. And if you want to keep your creative wheels spinning, well, you damn well better be feeding that thing. And what happens when you stop feeding it? It begins to starve and lose energy. And as it loses energy, it stops your creative momentum, which can result in that dreadful feeling of writer's block, which every person at some point has experienced. Now, what happens if you starve it for too long? Can it die? Luckily, I don't think so. It's a supernatural beast, after all. It can't be killed, but it can certainly be shackled if you disrespect it for an extended period of time, weeks, months, years, or even a whole childhood if you're in the unlucky circumstance of being raised by parents that tried stifling that creative side of you. So, what do you feed this beast inside of you? Simple. You feed it the most nutritious and rich diet you can. You feed it all the things that excite you, all the things that tantalize and intrigue you. In your particular creative field, you make a point to devour the work that compels you, challenges you. And you will find that often you don't even know why something is drawing you toward it until much later, very much like a feeling of intuition. You can imagine it like a deep well in your mind, seeing something that it resonates with, something it has a craving for, and it's calling out to it. So please, feed the damn thing, and keep feeding it, but only the best. Meaning again, making a point of feeding it that content which tantalizes you, intrigues you, draws you forward. It is the things that compel you with mystery that you will feel exhilarated by, as the mysterious and challenging things often hide lessons we have yet to learn, opportunities for growth in new directions. And you will find it works wonders. Whenever I find myself in a particular rut or downtime between projects, I start exploring music, films, or books that I've been meaning to catch up on, not because they're popular or that they're new. Some of them can even be years old. Instead, because they draw me toward them with some fascination I can't quite describe. And many times, the result is I become inspired by this new show, or album, or novel, and there's a great joy in that process. It's a journey of discovery and growth. For example, about a year ago, I stumbled on a show on Netflix called Dark, D-A-R-K. Now, no one had told me about it. It's a foreign show with English dubbing, and I honestly had nothing to go on except the title and the imagery provided in the preview. But, in a sense, it beckoned me forth to spend some time with it. And I did, binge-watching all the episodes in a matter of days. And I have since rewatched that show and recommended it to many friends. It's important to note that within a few days of watching it, I kind of felt something brewing in me, like an impetus to create something out of the influences this show was providing, or to try to meet the level of quality and engagement that I found that the show had to me. And in my own way, I did. I attempted it anyway. Because of Dark, I wrote a song with an accompanying music video that was one of the most demanding and rewarding creative experiences I've pursued. It led me to spend quite a few days in a very cold forest filming, stop motion, and doing all kinds of weird stuff that ended up becoming this music video. And it was a really rewarding experience, but it all kind of started from this seed planted by that show, honestly. The music video is called Devilwood. It's on my YouTube channel under MJDorian. If you're interested, and if you watch the show Dark on Netflix, you may notice quite a few similarities. I took it my own kind of direction, but definitely there's influence there. So I became obsessed about everything with that show, from the characters to the music to the metaphysical narrative. So you could say that I fed that supernatural beast within me, the show, and out came the inspiration and motivation for the song and music video. So, when you feed your head in this way, it all happens organically. It doesn't feel forced, because you're enjoying the engagement. So it's really important. I mean, imagine if you're someone who only watches reality TV and TMZ all day. What you feed your head is what you can expect to come back out of it, right? There's a great saying in computer coding, garbage in, garbage out. I like to think of the human brain very much in that way too. What are you feeding your brain? And because of what you're feeding it, what can you expect it to return to you? And before you know it, that beast inside has taken all this material you fed it and constructed something hopefully fresh and new, something that blossoms forth in your mind as an inspiration. One of those precious moments that we all seek. So in closing, remember, the beast is always hungry. So feed your head. Give him something good. Hey, hope you found that interesting. That's the first in a series of creativity tips that I'm going to be releasing. I'll be releasing these about once a week on my Patreon page, and I'm going to mostly keep them on the Patreon as an exclusive, and occasionally allowing one to be more in the public and possibly within the podcast as well. But the idea is I'm trying to figure out what the creative process is and what tips I can share, what insights from reading about it, researching about it, and kind of documenting and writing about my own process over the years. So I hope you found that one interesting. There'll be many more coming that I have lined up. And again, they'll be pretty much like a Patreon exclusive that I'll be releasing on my page at Patreon, patreon.com/MJDorian. And if you'd like to listen to the next creativity tip, that is already available on my Patreon page for free. So go check it out. I think it's a good one too. And until next time, I'm MJ Dorian. Thank you for your support.